Hi, I'm Greg Nicholson, and welcome to MBK Lounge. So let me tell you about our topic today. It's going to sound very familiar. It really is around fitness. You know, some people think it's a fitness craze, a whole lot going on. Everybody's trying to be in shape. New Year's, everybody hits the gym and all that kind of stuff. But today, when I talk about fitness, I want to stretch you a little bit, because I think that there are some things that you never thought you would be able to do, or you don't even think about, because that's just too big. And like I've told you guys in the past, I always want to have a discussion around something that is thought-provoking, makes you think about it, and actually pushes you to a place that you never thought you could be. So today I have someone that's going to have the conversation with us, because we're in the lounge. And hopefully by the end of it, you'll be able to see that there's some things you thought you could never do in the world of fitness that you will be able to do going forward. So today is really about unlocking your inner athlete. And to help me with that discussion, I'm going to bring in my man, Mr. Anwar Miller. Anwar Miller. Where'd that come from?
Hey, you know, if there's a will, there's a way. Instead of Miller, it's Willer. It makes sense. He's the Willer. You know what I mean? Make it happen. So I might change my name because
I like that. I like that. So here's the thing. You heard me talk about what the show is about.
Yeah.
And all I could think about was who you were. And you're already chuckling. I haven't gone there. Who you were before you became Mr. Iron Man.
Right.
So talk a little bit about what you were before you were the person you are today.
Now, it's funny you should say that, because even though I knew what the show was going to be about, right? As you're sitting here talking about this show is about fitness, I'm sitting on the show thinking how ironic it is that I'm on a show where they're talking about fitness. So if any of my friends was, if 10, 15 years ago, if any of my friends say Anwar going to be on a show about fitness, they will all crack up. So
they probably would, but why would they? Why would they crack up?
Okay, so me, the irony is, because fitness, I think oftentimes is associated with sports. And I was the kid that wasn't in the sports. Like, I didn't watch football. Like right now, I know that Jalen Hurts is the quarterback.
You mean Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts,
Mr. Willard.
right? Is the quarterback of the Eagles. But if you ask me that name, maybe two other players, then I'd be out of luck.
Right.
So it's not that I don't watch, sports. I will watch, the Super Bowl. I will watch a couple games. I enjoy the games. Right. But I didn't play basketball.
Right.
I was terrible at basketball. In fact, my stepfather was like the coach of a basketball team. I helped him get the team together because they was my friends. But at the last 2 seconds, he put me in the game. I'd make a shot. Maybe,
the last 2 seconds?
I was terrible at it. Football, didn't play football, didn't run track, didn't do any of those things. So from a sports perspective, I really never really was into sports or fitness. And that's why it's ironic that here I am doing Ironman, and now I'm an evangelist for people integrating into their lifestyle exercise.
So, but here's what I would like for you to talk about even further.
Yeah.
Because there's somebody watching. There's different levels of the folks that are watching right now. There's the person who is on the couch.
Yep.
They do absolutely nothing.
Yep.
There's people who work out and do things. And there might be even some people who do marathons and triathlons. So the audience is wide.
Yep.
But what I want them to fully understand is there's always another level. So when you said that you weren't into sports, that's one aspect of it. But as a result of that, what was your condition like? What did part of when you said people crack up, why would they fully crack up? When they see you on here now, and I'm referencing when they see you on here now.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So it's funny because, we had our children really, really young, 2023. I mean, when we was, not 2023, but when we were 23.
Yeah, 2023, that was last year?
No, we done that.
Right.
But no, we had our first child.
Right.
We was 23 years old. Right? And it was so funny because Lois and I, we would eat together while she was pregnant, and then she would lose all the weight, and I would hold on to my weight. And then she have the next child,
Right.
and then we eat together, and then she lose all the weight, and I hold on to my weight, and then she got pregnant again, and we work on the next child, eating together, and then she lose all her weight, and I hold on to my weight. So I was like
No way.
I was 216, 210, 216.
Wow.
I was somewhere over 200 pounds at 5'10". So I was a little bit, heavy on that side, right? I mean, it didn't look terribly heavy, but I was heavy. So and I wasn't running, I wasn't jogging, I wasn't doing any of those things. But what inspired me was I was working with a client, and this had to be like, man, I don't even know what year this was. This must have been like 2010 maybe, or something like 2012. I don't know. I was working with a client, and this guy was really heavy.
Okay.
And the next time I saw him, he was this fit athlete looking guy.
Right.
And I'm like, what happened? He had long hair. He looked like a rock star. He looked like he lost 20 years. I said, man, what happened? He was like, well, I started running.
Okay.
So I was inspired by that. So we actually happened to be going to the Dominican Republic for a business trip. And he said, I'm running tomorrow. Do you want to run with me? And I said, I've never run before, but I'll do it. So, we got up in the morning. We went running before our meeting. He took it easy on me, and we ran like maybe 2 miles or something a mile. I don't know what it was. And that was the beginning of me starting to run and starting to focus on how I could sort of make myself feel a little bit more, be a little bit more fit.
Yeah. So I didn't know that was we know each other a little bit. I didn't know that was your genesis of how you started to run. But obviously along the way, since you have been working out, especially back then, did you have to deal with any of the self-doubt or any of the, how do I continue to do this? Because a lot of times when you first start out, it hurts.
Yeah.
You might have a schedule, right? You're trying to figure out, how do I fit this stuff in? Talk a little bit about some of the things you had to overcome as when you started out that initial run to now. Yes,
I would say, that was, it inch by inch is a cinch, one little step at a time, right? So I only did what was comfortable for me. I wasn't on like any particular plan, right? So for me, it was just like, let me just try to run once a week,
Okay.
So, then let me try to run twice a week. Then let me try to run 3 times a week.
Right.
And I wasn't trying to run like 7 miles or 8 miles or 10 miles.
Right.
It's like, let me try to do 3 to 4 miles. Right.
Right.
And I kind of stayed comfortably in there. And I saw, some of the pounds come off a little bit, and I did some dieting stuff. And that was really part of it. But what really was the catalyst for the transformation was when I decided to sign up for my first like half marathon.
Oh, wait. Wait. You went from running a little bit to, all right, I think I want to run my first half marathon, right? DJ?
Almost.
All right, so.
Almost. So really what it was.
So you're telling me that it only just happened kind of, all right, I'm going to run once a week. Now I'm going to run twice a week. Now I'm going to run 3 times a week. All right, I'm going to do a half marathon. And that was it.
So this is what happened. So we found out the YMCA was having this program, right?
Okay.
And it was called a relay marathon. And so everybody could do a fourth of the marathon.
Yeah.
And so again, when I said bite-sized pieces, I couldn't see myself doing the marathon. In fact, I had no desire to do a marathon.
Yes.
In fact, at that point,
who does?
I had no desire to do a half marathon either.
Right.
But
right.
I was looking at the camaraderie of the fun of it, right?
Okay.
So that's the thing. If you can make it fun and not a chore, I think that makes it easier. So I said, well, let's do this. I can't remember who brought this up. But maybe it was me. I can't remember. We said, let's do this YMCA relay marathon together.
Right.
So everybody has to do 6.5 miles.
Okay.
And so we decided to call it Team M&M. So it was my wife and me, right? The Millers.
Okay.
And then it was some childhood friends of ours who also went to church with us.
Yeah.
The Millwoods. And
Okay.
so he and his wife, we called them up. It's like, hey, we've never done anything like this.
Yeah.
Let's do M&M. So the Millers and the Millwoods, we got M&M shirts made and everything. And we each trained to do 6.5 miles, and we trained with the YMCA group training program.
Right.
So that program was like a couch to 10K program.
Okay.
Where it taught you like exercise and fitness and walking and running and strength training. So it was a whole group training program. So you felt like you was accountable to it, basically attending the thing and learning one little step at a time. And that's what got us really into it.
So here's what I think I hear you saying. I hear you say a couple of things, but one of them is it needs to be fun.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And then you're talking about the support and accountability that can come with that if you do it with other people, like your wife, your friends, and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't have to do it alone.
No.
I think the hardest thing in the world is to try to wake up in the morning like, I'm going to run a half marathon. Which
is what you were saying a few minutes ago.
Right.
You were like,
so I'm glad you got into it, because that's not how it happened at all.
Right. Now, it's not that it can't, but usually there's a little bit more before the spark that really gets someone going. So talk a little bit about, so you started running, you're doing the M&M thing.
Yeah.
And you now want to do your first marathon. Talk a little bit about the half marathon. I'm not sure.
First half. I can't remember the exact trigger that said, let me do a half. I can't remember if someone came up to me, encouraged me to do it. I can't remember.
Right.
But all I know is that Couch to 10K, that 6.5 relay marathon, it got me into running at another level, right? Like getting to the piece of running, right? And I was like, it kind of made me feel like, I can do a half.
Right.
So however it happened, I can't remember exactly what happened. I think what happened is that the coach from the YMCA said, you have a good running form. Have you ever thought about doing like a half marathon? And then when the opportunity came, I signed up for the half marathon. And I started training for the half marathon. And that's how that happened,
Yeah, and I think, again, for some people, running a half marathon is like, what?
Yeah.
There are some people who are maybe running further, but somewhere along your journey, because there are some people who we lost right off the top, because they're like, I'm not running. Right. So that's the beauty of kind of your story, because you don't just run. Right. So when it comes to fitness, everybody's going to have their thing. So how did you go from running to finding out other stuff that you can do? How'd that happen for you?
Yeah, so it's kind of a step before that, because running, the thing about running, I tell people this all the time, and this is why I'm an evangelist for like signing up for
we're going to get to that.
For races.
We're going to get to that.
But one of the things that I realize is that it's kind of like school, right? When you're in school, why do you study?
Because you want to get good grades.
Because of the test. Yeah. So the grades is a result of the test.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you study in preparation for the test. But if there was no test, there might not be any studying. So for me, unlike most people, I'm not like this gym rat. And I'm not saying there's anything against that, right? People that go to the gym like working out. That's not who I am at all, right? What I am is I'm a person who signs up for events, and that becomes the test. And so now, in order to be ready for the test, I got to study. And the studying is working out. And so I integrated into trying to create a healthy lifestyle, these races that will push me to exercise so I can be ready for the actual race, AKA test.
So you talked about a couple of things. You said fun, and I'm going to ask you about that in a second.
Yep.
Having like your friends and other people to be involved in it. And now you're saying to get yourself to do it, you sign up for it, and it puts you in a place where, all right, now that I've signed up for it, and it costs money.
Yep.
You're saying that is a way to help you, go down the journty.
That's right.
So earlier though, you said having fun is a part of it.
Yes.
And we also talked about how you do multiple things. I want you to speak to that.
Yes.
But there are some people who aren't going to run, right? I know you've heard somebody say to you, I need to start running.
Yes.
And it's not for everybody.
Right,
So,
absolutely true.
So talk a little bit about how people can discover their thing. Maybe they just go to the gym now, maybe there's other stuff, but talk a little bit about how you expanded what you do.
Yeah.
That kind of that thought process.
So I'll tell you how I expanded what I do, and I think the thought process of encouraging other people to find their thing came out of that. It's more like hindsight being 20/20, right? So what happened with me is that I had gotten used to running and only running.
Right.
And I hadn't biked I hadn't swim. I wasn't into sports, as we talked about.
Yeah.
Wasn't into going to the gym. I'm not a guy that's like, oh, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I can't wait to jump up and go to the gym. That wasn't me at all.
Right.
So we already understand that my whole thing was just about, just put myself in the test, prepare for the run, and do the run, right? Half marathon and stuff. Then I wound up doing a full marathon. And the reason why I did a full marathon, and to be honest with you, it was out of ego, right?
Okay.
Is because, I had just finished this half marathon. And again, the fun thing of it, right?
Right.
And I'm out there with friends and stuff. And, we went to lunch afterwards. And when we went to lunch, everybody sort of going over their times.
Right.
Like, oh, this is your time. What was your time? What was your time? And I said my time. And the guy said, oh, you just did a half.
Yeah.
Now here I am, I just did my half. I did something here. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right,
I'm
right,
like,
right,
that
right.
took a lot. He's
Right.
like, oh, you just did a half.
Right.
So then I thought to myself, oh, you're never gonna be able to say that to me again. Right. Next time you talk to me is because I only did a half because I chose to do a half. It's not because I can't do a full. So that's what actually made me train for the full. It's not because I wanted to do a marathon. I had no intention of doing a marathon.
Right.
But I was like, nobody's gonna be able to say to me, oh, you just did a half.
So you found something that would inspire you, that drove you,
Right.
and said, okay, so this is the challenge. So the challenge can come in a lot of different ways, right. But for you it was, oh, okay, it's on now.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
And Uche, if you watching this, it was you that said, oh, you just did a half.
Uche's in trouble.
Uche, I love Uche. That's my man too. So now getting to the other things, right? So now I did the marathon. Now I realized after doing a marathon,
right.
Man, that's a great way to get fit and lose like 20 pounds.
Right. One of the ways
so many different ways.
And again, this is about going to a place in your fitness that you never thought. No sports, didn't really care. Unfit because your wife was pregnant and you were pregnant with her with food.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, and now you're way out there. So go ahead. So other things, go ahead.
Okay, so I realized I was starting to get a little bit chunkier again, right? And I wanted to thin it down.
Yeah.
And so I go into school, and at this point, people know that I ran a little bit because I try to do like a half marathon every year.
Right.
We did a couple together and everything like that, which is great. It's always fun doing a half marathon with your friends. Beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I went into school, and my friend's teacher said, "Oh, what are you doing this year? Are you doing She said, what are you doing this year? I said, oh, this is like November. I said, oh, next year I'm going to do another marathon. I just want to drop another 20. I want to drop 20 pounds again, And she was like, and she's probably this 5'1". She's about 5'1". Small, teeny woman. She said, I'm doing an Ironman. And you should do an Ironman too.
Now, did you know what Ironman was at that point?
I knew it was something incredible that I never thought I would ever do.
Right.
I knew it was like swimming, and I didn't know how to swim. Right. I knew it was biking, and I ain't own a bike. Right. And I knew it was running. The only part that I knew about was the running part, right? And she was like, I'm doing an Ironman. I don't even know if I asked her the distances, right? And she was like, you can do it. If you're a runner, you can do an Ironman.
That sounds like somebody I know.
It does. It's like tag you it. And now I'm the one saying you can do an Ironman, right?
Right.
And so she hyped me all up, right? She's like, I got a training book, because part of fitness sometimes is that you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So she was like, hey, listen, I got a training book in my car. You got a couple minutes. She took me down her car. She put out a training book that was this thick. I don't know why that didn't discourage me. and pulled out a training book this thick. And she showed me how to read the training book.
Right.
And then she said, you take it home. You can borrow it and go ahead and train for the Ironman, right?
Yeah.
So, and I start watching YouTube videos. Yeah. That's what got me. I'll start watching YouTube videos of people who had these incredible stories. Yeah. Like maybe they were cancer survivors, or maybe they were disabled in some form or fashion. Maybe they had a heart attack and recovered from it. But I start reading these incredible stories about, little tears coming from my eyes, about people who did these Ironmen. Yeah,
like the dude who runs pushing his son.
Pushing his son.
Dude, I just got goosebumps.
Yes.
Because I was in a run with that guy. And I'm like, what? So it's very inspiring. So, okay.
So I was like, I went home to my wife, and thank God for my wife, because they help sober you up, a little bit. So I go home, honey, I'm gonna do an Ironman, and she like, okay, you've never done a triathlon.
Right.
Why don't you start with a half Ironman first?
Okay.
Okay. And I said, okay. She saved my life that day. So I was like, okay. So I started with a half Ironman. So now this is where I'm gonna get to. Find your thing, right? Mm-hmm. Because here's a person, me, who I couldn't even swim 3 laps in the swimming pool. That means I can swim from here to the wall, and from the wall back,
Right.
and maybe from the wall back to the other wall. Maybe. That was it, right? That was as much as I can swim.
Right.
And the Ironman, a half Ironman, is 1.2 miles. So that's equivalent to like 40 laps in the swimming pool.
That's a lot.
So you go from 3 laps. How you go from 3 laps?
Everybody just gulped.
Right, right. Like what? Because usually when you swimming like that, when you swim in a couple laps, you're using all your energy.
That's right.
You're not trying to swim like 40 laps.
No.
You're trying to swim. You're just trying to get to the other end of the wall. So you're using every single bit of energy
That's
that you
right.
can,
That's
and
right.
you're totally exhausted by the time
That's
you swim like 2 laps. So you're like, how can I ever swim 40 laps, right? So that was. But the training was like teaching you how to swim lap by lap. All I did was go to YouTube, learn from YouTube how to swim, start swimming, and I went from 2 or 3 laps to, I started using different strokes. Like I did the breaststroke. I knew how to do the breaststroke, so I did the breaststroke, but I didn't know how to do the cross stroke, which is the major stroke, that freestyle stroke that people use to do these things, right?
Okay.
So I was like, well, I can do the breaststroke. I can probably do that for a long time. Maybe I can roll on my back.
Right.
Anyway, I went from switching to different strokes to really focusing on a freestyle stroke, and went from a couple of laps to 10 laps to 20 laps to 30 laps. Within 9 months, I think I was swimming 3 miles.
Wow.
Within 9 months. And then I learned the piece of swimming. But it wasn't until I attempted it that I learned the piece of swimming. And the piece of swimming.
Talk about the piece.
Yeah, because the piece, I literally just swam this morning, actually. In fact, I swam 2 hours this morning, which is like, I don't know how many miles that is, but I swam a couple of miles this morning.
Okay.
The piece of swimming, when you swim correctly and efficiently, it could be no more than walking in the water. Right? If I told you to walk a mile or walk 2 miles,
Yeah.
you wouldn't say, oh, I can't walk a mile, I can't walk.
Right.
I can walk a mile, walk 2 miles.
Right.
That's how swimming should be. Your stroke for swimming should be so smooth, and your breathing for swimming should be so smooth. You should feel like you can do it forever.
So I'm gonna stop you right there,
Yes.
because they just gulped again.
Yeah.
They just said. You talked earlier about the book that the lady showed you. We're talking about people going really far in fitness.
Yes.
Right. We're not just trying to get them off the couch. We're trying to get them off the couch and climbing the mountain. Right. So obviously there is education and learning about how to. There's probably some nutritional aspects. Like, I think people understand it, but you're a living, walking testament that when you do that, it can be done as part of us trying to get people to go further than they have before. So talk a little bit about the importance of nutrition and learning, and I guess finding the piece of swimming that you just talked about for 40 laps.
Look, I was, it's funny, this morning as I was breathing and swimming, I was picturing and visualizing every breath being a massage to my lungs.
Stop it.
I'm
A
telling you.
massage.
This is the truth. As I'm swimming, I'm like, literally the breathing out is a massage to my lungs. A massage in my lungs as I'm breathing.
So you're saying,
You can get there. You actually can get there.
and it was because you learned how to do it efficiently.
Yes. And so that goes to your question.
Yes.
So one is, don't get analysis paralysis. So,
Okay.
I think a lot of times people, they want to pick up the book, they want to read, they want to learn, but sometimes the learning is the journey along the way.
Okay.
Right? You learn as you go.
All right.
And that's really what happened to me. So my ability to swim the way I swim now is because I started. See, sometimes the biggest thing that people hesitate with is just starting.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta jump in the water.
Yeah.
And just start. And then as you start, you learn and you grow at the same time.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what the fitness, even the health. Like you said something good about the nutrition.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So when you're exercising the way that you need to exercise for an Ironman, you need to make sure your body is getting the right amount of nutrients. Right?
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Well, I didn't know that. So again, sometimes you gotta jump in, right? I'll tell you a quick story, right? This is gonna be 3 days long. Right? This
No, it won't.
time you thought this podcast was gonna be in it's 3 days long. So anyway, so the funniest thing for me, I'm following this book. The book just tells me what you're supposed to do, how many minutes you're supposed to do it every single day. Right?
Right.
So I ain't got to think about it. I just do it. So I found this book, right? And there's one particular training day, I had to swim, I had to bike, and I had to run the same day, right?
Right.
So I swam that morning, at the YMCA, hopped on a biked, then went around, ran around Glasgow Park and did the run.
Right.
And I called my wife up and I said, honey, I am so tired. I am going straight to Applebee's to eat. I'm not coming home. I'm not washing up. I am exhausted. I'm going straight to Applebee's to eat. And I'm so tired that I'm not going to be able to talk. And I'm so tired that I can't listen to you talk either. But I would love for you to join me.
You were too tired to listen.
Too tired to listen. Too tired to listen. So I can't talk and you can't talk. Right. You can only sit there and watch me
That's
eat.
the piece.
So we go to Applebee's and I'm as stinky as dirty as can be because I done swam, biked, and ran. And I ate and then we could talk and everything.
Right.
But the reason for that, Greg, is I ain't have my nutrition right. I didn't know how many calories.
Right.
So the process of doing that and being exhausted is like, okay, I need to figure out what I'm supposed to be eating.
Yeah.
And that's when the additional research came, This is where you can make mistakes in the training and learn what you need to learn. And that's when I learned about, okay, how many calories you're supposed to take in an hour.
Right.
So I don't want people to get over-analysis and say, I got to know all this stuff before I start.
Right.
Just start first.
Right.
And then the training will help at the certain stages in your development.
Right.
You will learn how to pick up certain things like what's the right nutrition.
And the cool thing is that you weren't discouraged, because one of the things that I was, even though I know a little bit about fitness, I guess, the mental barriers that you deal with, either when you're doing it, in between, it's hard, man. And then you to do what you did, you could have said, that's it. When you called her and said, I'm just going to get something to eat, you could have been, this is the last time I'm going to do this because this is crazy. This is too hard. And again, I think that's a really good story for people who are at varying levels of, because you've heard about people who do half marathons and they decide to do a full. People who do full half triathlons or sprints and they do full. Like there's always another level. And what's cool is you talked about there's peace in it. So if you do it effectively and efficiently, it should be like walking. You know what I'm saying? If you stay within yourself and get it right.
And it won't start that way.
No.
It wasn't peace for the for the first couple of months.
Right.
In fact, you feel like you get discouraged because you feel like you never gonna get to the point of peace.
Right.
But you can hit that stage where the run is a peaceful run. The swim is a peaceful swim. And then biking is beautiful. I didn't discover biking again until I started doing triathlons because I didn't even have a bike. Right. And so then I realized the beauty of biking and cycling.
So it's funny. So you're talking about the peace and the beauty and what you've learned or what have you. So you've said several times today that you are the evangelist.
Right.
Now, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but talk a little bit about how you become an evangelist, why you are the evangelist around, being fit, probably specifically with Ironman, but just, doing the stuff that you do. Why is it such a big deal?
So that's a good question. And I tell you, it's a couple reasons, right? I think that every single person deserves to feel their own excellence come to fruition, right? And when you do, specifically when I talk about triathlons and Ironman particularly, when you cross the finish line of an Ironman, even a half Ironman, you've done something so incredible. It's not for anybody else but for you.
Right.
I tell people all the time, you won't be the first person to cross the finish line, and you won't be the last.
Right.
Now, I will tell you there was some times where I was almost the last. but nonetheless, you're really competing with yourself.
Right.
It's accomplishing something, your own sense of excellence. And that feeling of crossing the finish line, everybody deserves to have that. And when you do a full Ironman, you haven't even done the incredible, you've done the impossible. It doesn't even feel possible to be able to do a full Ironman, and you've done it. So I believe everybody needs that feeling of excellence because it will overflow into every area of your life. When you realize that you can do something like that in fitness, you realize you can do something like that in your personal life, and your relationship life, and your business life, right? And then the other reason why I'm an evangelist is because I am the most unlikely of characters. I'm the non-sports guy.
Right.
I'm the person that had no interest in sports.
Right.
I didn't even watch sports.
Right.
I didn't play sports.
Right.
I'm the guy who couldn't swim more than a couple laps.
Right.
I'm the guy who didn't own a bike.
Right.
The only thing I could do a little bit was run.
Right.
And I didn't even really do that. That was
Right.
just like
Right.
maintenance running.
Right.
And so I look at people who, maybe in high school they used to be athletes, or maybe they do a little something now. I just know that based on where I started, anybody can do this. Anybody can run. Anybody could find that power in themselves to strive for excellence and improve incrementally and do the incredible. And that's why I'm an evangelist for people to pull out the excellence in themselves. And and the fact that I am such the unlikely character that would do this, I know that anybody can go from zero to where I am. So that's why I'm an evangelist for it.
That's hot. That's hot. So here's what I'll say, and you may have just summed it up, right? We've talked a lot today about not just fitness or getting in shape, but really trying to push our audience to a place that they haven't been yet, whether they're on the sofa or the couch or whatever level of fitness. If you had just a couple of more things that you wanted to say, to our viewers about, how they can reach a place that they didn't think that they could, what are a couple of those things that they should do? And then any other final words you want to have for today?
Yeah, I think the one thing is be inspired. And I say that because I always recommend that people watch, however bad you think you have it, there's someone that was at a lot worse position than you than you are right now. And they were able to overcome it. And so I would listen to, like I listened to Rick Ross. Rick Ross was a guy who in his 30s, he might have been 40, might have been 39. I think he might have 39 or 40.
Yeah.
He tried to, he used to be a college athlete.
We'll fact check you.
Huh?
We'll fact check you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, he tried to, he's in here somewhere.
Yeah.
He tried to run up the steps and he was out of breath. He ran out of breath at 40. He's like, I got to change my life. Changed his life around. 4 years later, he was on the front of Men's Magazine as the most fit man in America. So went from not being able to run up the steps to that.
Wow.
And just small little changes, right? I listened to David Goggins, who was a couple 100 pounds overweight, and I think he was working exterminator, like a insect exterminator. And he said, I got to pull my life together, and decided he was going to go to Navy SEALs training.
Yeah.
He had to lose 100 pounds in like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And just went and got on the bike, and indoor bike, and start, cycling off the pounds. And it took him 3 times to become a Navy SEAL, 3 attempts to become a Navy SEAL. And did some incredible things in order to do it. Right. He changed his life around. Right. So is the stories of listening to people like that. Like I told you when she first told me about doing an Ironman, I started watching the Ironman YouTube videos of people and what they've been able to overcome.
Right.
And so I think that when we listen to these stories of inspiration, it realizes that, we don't have it as bad as we think.
Right.
And if they were able to do it, then I'm able to do it.
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing that I would say. Find something or somebody to inspire you. The other thing, too, is that right now, I was thinking about this today. I want to be able to do triathlons with my grandchildren's grandchildren. And so we only have one heart, we only have one body, and we only have one life. So more than anything, this is the thing that we need to take care of more than anything else. This is the most important thing that matters. Right. And so we have to do something to get us along the lines of taking care of this body of ours. Right. So that we can live a long life. And so that's what I want to tell the viewers. I was like, really find your inspiration by getting inspired by other people. You don't have to know everything to start. You don't have to be great to start, as they say, but you have to start in order to be great. Right. And start with one little step at a time. And learn learn along the way. And before you know it, you can be this champion that you never thought or imagined you ever be able to do. And more importantly, you'll be able to do and accomplish things that you never thought you'd be able to accomplish.
Wow. Anwar, man, I was... what?
And sign up for the next Ironman. That's what it do.
The evangelist came out.
If you want to get yourself off the couch, if you sign up for a half Ironman, look...
Don't give your money away. Don't sign up and not do it.
Motivators, right?
Yes.
One of the greatest motivators.
Yes.
Inspiration is great.
Yeah.
Health is great. Want to be around for your kids.
Yeah.
Kids is great. Money is great.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest motivators. Can I tell a story? I got five
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah, listen,
All right,
listen.
His story, because it's one of the biggest motivators. This is going to describe it, right? Okay, so there was a man, and he wanted to basically marry his daughter. It was a king. He wanted to marry his daughter off, right?
Oh, okay.
Wanted to marry his daughter off.
I was getting ready to say, hold up, time out. We get ready to stop.
No, we good.
He's going to marry his daughter off.
He married his daughter off.
Yes.
He's trying to find a suitable spouse.
Yes, I
for his
got you.
daughter.
I got you.
So
Yeah.
he put out the word throughout the kingdom. He's a king.
Yeah.
Put out the word to the kingdom. You know, he wanted to bring the finest knights to compete to marry his daughter. Right?
Yeah.
And so he put this competition in place. Where the first thing the knights had to do was jump into a pool of piranhas. Right? They jump to the pool of piranhas, they swim across the pool of piranhas, and then the piranhas goes down into an alligator pit. They have to swim past the alligator pit, climb up the rope, go across some hot fire with the rope, and then get to the end. So it's this incredible feat that you think nobody could do it, right? And so he said, if you accomplish this incredible feat, you'll be able to marry my daughter, right? Or you'll be able to have all of the all of the wealth that you want. I'll give you all the wealth. Or you can have land, because land was a form of wealth. Right. And so before he finished making an announcement, he heard a splash. And the guy was in the water. He's swimming past the piranhas. He's pushing past the piranhas. And then, like I said, you got to keep going. Piranhas trying to nip you. He's hitting the piranhas. He falls down the waterfall into the alligator pit. He's kicking the alligators. He's pushing past the alligators. He's punching the alligators. He swims through the alligator pit. He climbs the rope, showing his strength. Gets to the top. He has to go across the hot coals and hot fires. He gets across the hot coals, the hot fires. He gets to the other side, right? And he's out of breath. And the king's right there. And the whole kingdom is going crazy. They're clapping like, oh my goodness, this is unbelievable, right? So he's over there, and the king is like, congratulations, young man. What would you like? All of the wealth. And the young man says, no. He said, okay, would you like the best land that I have? Any land that you want, you can have. Is that it? Is that why you did? Is that what you want? And the young man said, no. He said, oh, so you want my beautiful daughter's hand in marriage? And the young man says, no. So he said, well, what is it that you want then? He said, I want to know one thing. I only want one thing. And one thing only, I want to know the name of the man that pushed me into the pool. So the point is, the biggest motivator was fear. It wasn't love. It wasn't wealth. It wasn't power. It was fear. And so when you sign up for a half marathon or a half triathlon, and you do something that's so scary, the fear of not being able to accomplish it is what will keep you in shape, will keep you continue to focus on doing what you need to do to be ready. So for me, my first Ironman, the reason why I trained and did not follow and made sure I followed the training plan, because you weren't gonna find me in the water tapping out.
That's right.
Or for that matter, not tapping out, whatever the case is. So it was the fear of making sure that I accomplished what I set out to accomplish that motivated me. So I say all that to say to the viewers, I ain't even cut you off.
This is we.
If
Listen,
you really
we're in the
wanna get
lounge.
yourself off your couch,
Sign
up for something that's so extraordinary you never thought you'd ever be able to do it. Sign up for a half Ironman. And if you need some coach and some helping, I'll help you. Or at least sign up for a half marathon. Or sign up for a cycling race.
The evangelist is in the MBK Lounge. Yo, man, listen. Man, I am really excited that you came into the MBK Lounge because of all of what I believe everybody heard. But I want to add a small piece to that story. When he was saying, I want the name of that man that pushed me in the water, I wanted to say it was Anwar Miller. The difference is you would have pushed him in and then jumped in with him.
Yes, sir.
Because that's the kind of man that you are. This is not a, do as I say and you're not a doer of it. So you definitely would have pushed him and been in the water with him. And so, man, listen, again, I can't thank you enough for coming into the MBK Lounge. And listen, everybody, today was about unlocking your inner athlete. And I'm hoping that wherever you are in your fitness, wherever you are in being healthy, that the discussion today really helps you see that it's about fun. It's about doing it with friends. It's about, taking the time to learn. But don't be afraid. You don't have to know everything. It really is about finding what it is that you would enjoy doing. Like, everybody's not going to run. Some people want to swim. But what I can tell you is, like Anwar said, this is not something that you have to be pedigree. You have to be an ex-athlete. You can start right where you are. And that's really where the greatness in you starts. It starts because you decide today you want to unlock your inner athlete. So thanks for tuning in. It was great for you to join us in the MBK Lounge. See you next time. Be blessed.